It's tight, huh?
Yeah, what's up? My name Divine. Want to send a shout out to my dad,
Yeah, man. Let's shout your dad out, man. What's his name?
Niggas Ball,
For sure.
13.
Good evening, good evening. This is Lady Estelle and the Street Soldier Crew on this Father's Day and Sunday. We are here with you. Your host this evening is glad to see that we are back again to celebrate, and we are live and free. Your host, Dr. Joseph E. Marshall Jr.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, lady. You're taking some deep breaths there. You just,
This is one of my days.
I knew it.
This is
I
where I
knew
have been sneezing and sneezing and just wiped out from the rain and all the stuff in the air. I'm just a mess. And sometimes makeup helps, and sometimes it just doesn't. It's like, oh,
We're gonna ease you through this, okay? We're gonna ease you.
I'm gonna see what I can do. Since I'm about to sneeze now. Ugh.
Oh, don't forget to mute. Good evening, street soldiers. Happy Father's Day, happy Father's Day. It is alive and free street soldiers radio. One more time. Oh man. I just love Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, all the fathers and everything else. I know the world is crazy. I don't want to deal with none of that. You might hear some of that in the news. Maybe next week I'll just spend time on all the craziness that's going on. But it is Father's Day today. So we're gonna celebrate, have some serious conversation about fathers and fatherhood. That's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be. So I gotta say Happy Father's Day to me and Happy Father's Day to me. Like
Happy Father's Day to you, the soul.
Happy Day, Soul. What's up, man? I love the picture you sent with the family. You looking good, man. Out there, like you look like a king on a throne, man. They treat you nice today, man.
Hey, it started off with breakfast in bed.
Oh, you kidding?
I had no idea I was dead asleep, wasn't even trying to get up, okay? And they knocked on the door, came in with the plates on the tray with coffee, French toast, eggs. We had some plantains in there. Breakfast was cracking, but it just made me feel so good. You're right. For a day, I did feel like a king. You're right about that.
All right. That is tight, man. That's tight.
But
That's
after that, I wouldn't let nobody do nothing for me. That was it. Then I was back to doing for them. I feel better that way.
Well, you just
Happy Father's Day.
you're a
See,
great
they were
father,
like, "It's
man.
your day." I was like, "Hey, Father's about getting work done. Let's go."
I mowed the lawn.
I know what Lady Stell would say. Enjoy it, take it, accept it, that kind of stuff. So at least she got you through breakfast. Maybe next year she'll get you a half a day of just take it.
Hey, it was cool.
All right.
Now, can I say
Way to
too? I
start
thought
the
about you,
day.
Doc, and I had to put on some Earth, Wind, and Fire this morning just to go back to, you know, when I was this little one and you was in control of the stereo. Mike, let me tell you, it was a heavy dose of Earth, Wind, and Fire and Stevie Wonder.
Hey
Oh
man,
yeah.
I
And
got so much.
Marvin Gaye, what's going on?
I got so much of that in my phone. You wouldn't think you think I was still back then.
Oh yeah.
That's good stuff.
Great music.
That's great stuff. We used to get up on Saturday, start cleaning up, and then it
So,
stop. The Soul Train was coming on. We all run to the TV and watch Soul Train.
oh wow. Lit.
It was.
Hey, Soul Train was lit. You right
Pre
about
twerk.
that.
Pre
Plus, I
twerking.
was a kid, so I was doing cartoons in the morning already.
Yep.
Hey, Saturday was great. Thanks, Pop.
You got it, man. You got it.
It makes me think of all the county fairs that are going on right now because you have the Alameda County Fair, San Mateo, and then the Solano County Fair just passed. And I was sad 'cause I missed the SOS band on Thursday because
Ooh,
So
ooh.
this man,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
going back?
I
Yeah,
think Russell had him there.
some straight. You throwing some straight knowledge there.
I love the SOS band. So
Hey, the
yes.
county fairs are nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great way to celebrate, right? Like get everyone together. And they have a lot of new food out. Like that's really like the thing, right? I don't know about the rides still. They're scary, but all the new foods out there are pretty cool. And music.
Summertime.
Yes.
All right, let's get to the news. Let's get to the news. It's not good, but we got to do a couple of things, which is news, right? Um, Protesters rally in Hercules, among other places, around the country. And I heard around the world they were calling it No Tyrants Day. Yeah, yeah. For No King's Day demonstration. This is from the Contra Costa Post.
Ooh.
Reliable as I don't know what. All right. Protesters gather at a busy Hercules intersection Saturday to voice opposition to that man as part of a nationwide demonstration of No King's Day. Known as No King's Day, more than 2,000 protests were held across the United States, according to CNN. That's a lot. They were intentionally scheduled on the same day as a military parade, which only cost us $50 million, or 45. What's 5 million, right? That itself coincided with that man's 79th birthday and Flag Day and celebrated the Army's anniversary. All right. And like I said before, they were held around the world called No Tyrants Day, both in cities both big and small. The local protests organized by Indivisible Northeast Bay drew residents from Pinole, Hercules, Crockett, and Rodeo to the corner of Sycamore and San Pablo. Right. Let's see. Yeah. There they played this play. So we know. No King's Day, no King's Day, no King's Day, no King's Day.
That turned out to be pretty big yesterday.
Oh yeah, it was big.
I remember, when I first got the email a couple months ago, I didn't know, but whoever organized that one, they did a good job on that one.
Yeah, well, time. This is the time, right? I mean,
Plus, you had Juneteenth going on places, you had Pride going on places, you had things going on already, and then you got what's going on in LA. So you're right. It's just like it all is just a moment, and we'll see if it's a movement or a moment, like you always say.
No, this gonna be a movement. This ain't a moment. This no. They don't get it. They don't do something about this. They gonna be forever, forever under tyranny. That's what I say. Okay? That's what I say. Y'all want to call it arguing me? That's the way it is. But they spent $50 million on that parade, or $45 million on that parade.
What
right?
parade? In DC?
Yeah, 50 million. They supposed to be cutting money, but 50 million. And Mike, 15 million of it was to repair the streets that they tore up.
Wow.
All right. Okay, more next.
Which is less than what he wanted. He wanted almost 100 million. He wanted a $94 million parade. That's what he was going for.
Now, that ain't
Donald Trump is like the dude at the gym who's like looking at himself in the mirror and he's hella buff and like muscles are popping out of his brain and he thinks he looks so good and everyone else is like, man, you look like a fool.
You mean he's posing and he see the bubble?
You know what I mean? It's just like he's so blown up of himself.
I get what
Especially when you see them little bitty legs.
So he definitely got an inflated view of himself in every way possible. All right, there was an assassination attempt in Minnesota, and the suspect, I believe, is still at large.
Well, there was one, it did happen, and then another one where it didn't. Yeah.
What I got here is, anyway, the gentleman, all right, Vance Bolter, apparently he's still at large, right? 50-year-old that authorities have identified as a suspected gunman wanted for allegedly shooting and killing a state representative and shooting and wounding a state senator. In a targeted acts of violence, allegedly had a list of Minnesota Democrats on his target as his targets. All right, and the list included the governor, Representative Ilhan Omar, U.S. Senator Tina Smith, and Attorney General Keith Ellison. All right. So he's still on the lam, as they say. He ran away. So yeah, they get him. They get him. And I don't know if you noticed, but they a couple of demonstrations in the the No Kings demonstrations in Virginia and San Francisco were struck by motorists.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I heard about San Francisco, not Virginia. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And of course, that reminds you of Heather Heyer, I believe.
Yes.
Yep.
At the
Charlottesville,
who was run over.
Yeah.
Right. Lost her life. So these folks going crazy, y'all. These folks going crazy. These folks going crazy. But hey, you put him in, this is what you're gonna get. This is what you're gonna get. You can call and yell at me if you want.
Yeah.
I'm right.
I heard there was gunfire too, but I mean, for the most part,
San Francisco.
I don't remember where I was watching it all over. Um, but then they really like made sure to stay peaceful, right? To stay calm. That was the point, right? Like we're not standing for this and we're not gonna, we're not, well,
Hey, keep it up on until election day.
And on the world stage, you
Agitated.
have Israel and Iran.
I know.
Mm.
Israel and Iran, and I wasn't like I gotta say like I always said if it's gonna happen, it's gonna be the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
it's that's the tinderbox for the world. So, whew, man, this is okay. I
Mm.
think that's all for you. So, what else? Did you have anything else here? That was it.
Well, United Players celebrated
They sure
something
did.
pretty
Let's
beautiful this
do that.
week. They have a brand new building at
do.
1044 Howard Street.
Hey,
And you cannot miss it because
Big old sign. United
there's a
Players.
huge sign that says United Players. And then on the front, they have a huge mural that highlights like Damien or Uncle Damien that a lot of people know.
Mm.
Um, Eddie Vang, think is his last name. But then around the corner, then there's just like 20 more people. So you have like Herm Lewis, Joanna Hernandez.
Mm.
She went, took a picture in front of it, but just a lot of community members.
Frisco's finest.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
was beautiful. And so they had a huge turnout. The Valkyrie representatives and warriors showed up for it as well as like a bunch of the community members. So it was beautiful, and they have a big, like $20 million building, but they deserve it because they work with the young people. They really try to help stop the violence, and they've been doing it for 31 years. And so they got about 3 stories with a beautiful rooftop, uh, outside area that was playing music, basketball court, and a Valkyries mural up on top as well. So check it out when you can, support them if you can. And great job, Rudy Corpus. You got a nice new office that you deserve, sir.
And we gave Rudy a big shout out last year when we put him on Good People Doing Good Things.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. I mean, and I go back with Rudy to him being in my classroom. So I don't claim the planting all this, but I claim being a good teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just beautiful to see him move
Yeah.
through life like this, doing the things he's doing, he's Rudy. Uncle Rudy, they call him. He's just, I'm proud to have been just a small part of his development. So and Jack was there. All OGs was out. All the OGs. Especially if you had your mural up there, you was gonna come out and be seen. All right. I got any more? Anything else that might be it?
Well, I think that right in line with probably what the topic is going to be about is the parenting prom.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah, that between the parenting prom and the documentary Daughters, which I don't know if Ann finished it.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it
When are we talking about?
tonight.
Okay.
Tonight.
You gotta set markers on radio.
Oh, I'm
People
sorry.
love that.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I couldn't find it,
Radio
but
101.
me and
On Netflix,
technology.
Daughters.
What the parenting prom? What was that? The one I sent y'all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so nice.
Yeah, well, they're both the same thing. This was started by somebody else, so we're
Okay.
gonna end up talking about both of them. All right. It is fathers, and more fathers tonight as we celebrate Father's Day. We got where's my crew? Where my crew supposed to be here? Well, I got 3 of them. Where the rest of them? I don't know what's going on. Get them in. I told them I want to have a nice long the word is robust discussion about fathers and fatherhood. And just gotta say, I love this day. Love this day. I think it's the best. Word for a man in the English language or any other languages. I wish I knew how to say. Can you say father in any other language? Andre, right? Is that
That's
I
right.
don't
There
know.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that it? But I just think it's wonderful. I think good fathers are fantastic. And we always do this discussion. And we'll put a little twist to it this time. We're gonna put a little twist to it. And we got some fathers coming in on the Zoom. I want to start this right now, but this came, Mike, because we always discuss. I want to tell Mike what's going on. We always discuss Mother's Day heavy. We discuss Father's Day heavy, and I don't know if I was caught off guard after some little, I guess, upswing years, but this year's discussion with the young people, they said it was painful. Yes, they used the word painful. A lady was there, of course, Ann was there, and then I thought about it. I guess it really depends on your fathering experience, right? And some years I got, maybe more than had, but it was painful. It was.
Doc, what did they say was painful?
I'm gonna
The
get
topic
into
of
that.
fatherhood?
Yeah, just talking about it.
Mhm.
Just talking about it was painful. And I heard painful. It's always, touchy, but they said painful, right? And this was a group, what was it, maybe we had about 15, 16 there, I think. And most of them were boys, which is rare. I mean, I think we only had one girl, maybe two girls there. I know Ariana was there and Patrice was there. Yeah. So
Elon
yeah.
was the other girl.
Hmm?
Oh, Elon.
Elon.
Yeah. So, and I said, wow. Well, so we went through it. I got the data, and we're gonna talk about it. But then I thought, Mike, and I forgot my prop. I really did. I was rushing so hard I had to run over to my, to my youngest daughter's house to,
Oh,
to have our little
celebrated.
went over there. And today, I don't know why the twins didn't want to see me. I was like, it was out of sorts. But the 3-year-old was like, granddad. He was all over me today. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. Langston was all over me today, Mom. But here's what we're gonna do, Mike. I thought if you were in the barbershop, right? The barbershop.
Yes, sir.
And they had a conversation in the barbershop. Starts if either somebody there threw out the topic about fathers and fatherhood, what would they say? What would come out? So we're in the barbershop right now. I had my clippers. I left them at home because I was gonna give you a line while we talking, but you can pretend I'm over there.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad you forgot him because you wasn't gonna cut my hair.
I didn't think I was.
Yes, sir.
But I'm asking
cool.
everybody listening,
Yeah.
To pretend we at the barbershop.
Gotcha.
All right. We're at the barbershop, and I got I'm sitting, I'm the head barber, By the way, I ain't been in the barbershop a long time because I ain't got much
Chopping
to cut,
off.
Doing
the shave off.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Right.
But this is listeners, we are in the barbershop. And I'm asking you, and I'm asking the panel I pulled in their thoughts about what would come up in the barbershop. Literally, what would come up in the barbershop when if the topic of fathers and fatherhood came up. So let's see who.
But before we get started, I need first of all, I need the men to see that there are some clippers in the house.
Hey,
Malcolm's got the clippers.
Oh, Mike, you got the clippers?
Ready to do some work.
Oh,
at my little church today, the pastor at my little church here in Keller, Texas, he does things differently. He's not the one that's always up front giving a message. And his message includes so much funny stuff. He has a congregation, the audience just in stitches. But today he had a backdrop that said barber. And he had a picture of his first question. He had a panel of 3 men come up, and Antoine was one of them. Anyway, 3 men in the barbershop. He was one of them. There were 4 men in this simulated barbershop. And he started off with a picture of his last haircut that his dad gave him. It wasn't, first of all, he was 9 years old and he had this big old head. How some little boys can look. He had this big wafty head and the worst haircut ever. We were screaming.
Whoppy.
And he started off asking the panelists about the most memorable haircut they got from their dad. Anyway, so it's interesting that this is like a continuation.
Hey, I'm gonna say right now, don't take a haircut from your dad when you're young. Things could go bad real quick.
Man, I'm learning, man.
Shout out to
Hey,
Molus.
Break, bro. I mean,
It
Go
was just
to the
a great
barbershop.
way to start.
all
And
right,
then it-
all
and
right,
then
all right.
getting deep, talking about,
minute.
sharing their stories and experiences.
funny.
So back to the barbershop.
My daddy cut my hair, so I had to try and cut his. But I had to take me to the shop. All right, let's jump into it. We got the Soul with us. We got Douglas Morris with us. We got Khalid Alahi. We got Charles Robinson. We got Stefan Wilson. I'm waiting on a couple more to jump into the conversation. And we got Mike. If we were in the barbershop and the topic of fathers and fatherhood came up, I got my pen. What would be, let's just start with a couple of things because this is deep. What would be some of the conversation? So let's see. Let's start with you, Khalid. What would come up? What would come up in the barbershop?
Oh man, being on child support.
I'm writing it down.
The female
Child
having you
support.
on child support.
I'm on child. Yeah.
And tripping because y'all not together, and no matter what, she wants the money. Just child support, and that'll that'll entanglement.
Okay. We put it all out there. It's all in the pot. And actually, a lot of this came out when we was talking with the kids, right?
Yeah.
So child support and money. All right. C. Rob, we'll start with you. What would come up in the barbershop?
What would come up in the barbershop would be who the kids are around and who you date.
I'm ready to know who the kids are around and who am I dating or who is she dating? Who am I?
It would probably be both, but
Yeah.
I mean, it would probably be more on the man. Hey, who you dating? Who you got my kids around?
Yeah, who you got my kids around? That's true. That's right. Who you got my kids around? What? Oh, who you got my kids around? Okay, the Soul. What would come up in the barbershop?
A whole lot.
We want it all.
But not all not all drama. Some of it is
whatever.
because I go see Anthony and that's my man up at headquarters barbershop up in Berkeley. And I'm always telling him about the kids because he's seen my kids progress. And that's cool because I've been with him for a minute. So I'm always giving reports on the kids and stuff like that. Of course, the drama and the stuff we go through with their mothers, and if we're with them and if we're not with them, and all that that's just so hard in itself. And you still have to be a parent too. But sometimes it's just sharing the joys of, and then you got brothers in the barbershop. Some people is out there just, macking and cracking. You got other dudes who's married. You get a little bit of everything. You get to listen to everybody's dudes talking about how many dates they went on in the last month. And, and you just be like, I'm going home to my wife. But it's cool because everything is all wrapped up in it.
We want what goes on in there, and that does happen. You gonna get something and say, but that ain't, they'll come with that. All right, they'll come with that. All right, Mike, get yours in. What would come up in the barbershop?
When it comes to father talk,
Fathers and fatherhood.
I think an underrated or spoken thing is about it, as far as fatherhood, is the new generation.
Oh, the new generation.
My friend, social media star, C. Lee, he said he had an unpopular opinion that today's generation are better fathers than like this generation is the best set of fathers we've had in a long time.
Okay, that would come up. You think would come up?
I
in
think
the shop,
so.
depending on who was in the room.
Of course,
Right, of
because you
course.
got like Malcolm said, you got a smorgasbord of people in the room.
True.
You know, like I said, I'm not a father, but I'm somebody's daddy.
Gotcha.
So that would
You gonna play with that, man?
no, we're not playing with.
No,
I'm just letting you know that was
yeah.
you know.
All right, yeah, I know.
It's all good.
Yeah, I knew the new generation of fathers are better.
They feel like it's a lot of great fathers. The fatherhood is not it's not the same. Like when I was coming up, it was a lot of absentee fathers,
Yes.
and I think we have improved upon that.
That's all in the pot,
Yep.
right? That's the conversation. Before I go to somebody, here's one, somebody who's not here, but I know what he would say, because he says all the time. He says, "Fathers don't get no love, man. Fathers don't get no love," and I would be the first thing he would say in the shop. He's like, "We don't get no love." Some people, man, somebody even remembers. By the way, if you want to call and jump in the barbershop, you can. 877-955-1061. I'm sorry to give the number, 877-955-1061. And Charles told me that there are women in his barbershop, so I ain't limited to just the brothers. All right, we got a call. So I'm going to jump in the barbershop. Come on. What you got?
Hey,
How you doing?
how you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Well, my name is Kent. I hear everything in the barbershop.
Ooh.
But about kids and fatherhood, it's it's about being a good father, and what I heard yesterday was, women, when they're not with their man, need to separate a bad man from being whether or not he can be a good father. Because the relationship with the mother is not necessarily the same relationship they have with their kids.
Ooh.
So a bad boyfriend can be a good father.
That's he hit
A bad boyfriend or a bad
A bad boyfriend, bad
man, however you want to spin it, but a man that is not compatible with you
right.
as a woman does not necessarily he's not a good father or can't be a good father.
Okay.
So women need to separate the two, because they are not. They can be completely orthogonal. They don't have to be, because he's a bad guy in a relationship, he's a bad man as a father.
That would definitely generate some serious discussion in the barbershop.
Absolutely.
Look, Kent, thanks a lot for calling, man. Keep listening. We're going to put all this in the blender, and we're going to see what we can make out of it. And it's glad to hear from you, man. Your daughter texted me today, and she hit you. So thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. You can jump in, ladies. You can jump in the barbershop also. 877-955-1061. Charles, did I get a chance to ask you?
You did.
I did. Who did I ask? Who didn't get a chance to ask? Howard Douglas. I'm sorry. Didn't get a chance to ask you. What would come up? Oh, he got his clippers too.
Love it. Love it.
What would come up in the barbershop around the topic of fathers and fatherhood?
That's a good question, Doc. Since I am not a biological father, they have a tendency to bounce things off of me since I've reached that golden age of 65. And just bouncing some ideas off of me. But a lot of things, like the gentleman said, is that one of the things I've heard is initially when they were talking about that child support, it's not so much that they didn't want to pay the child support, that they wanted to control the child support. And so sometime in the barbershop, you got to convince them that it's not about you and it's not about her, it's about the child.
Okay.
And why you are actually paying that money is to take care of that child. And all of those personal feelings that you may have thinking about where that money is going, you got to separate. And the barbershop is kind of smaller now. And I'm like you, I only go maybe like every other month since I don't have anymore.
I know. Look, Doug, we got a call, 877-955.
You go ahead.
You are in the Street Soldier Barbershop. What would come up about fathers and fatherhood? Go right ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Misty.
Yep.
And I just want to say all men that are fathers are good fathers if they're around.
So that would come up. If you were in the barbershop, you would bring that up, right?
In the barbershop.
Well, good. All right. All fathers who are, I'm writing this down. Say that again.
I said all men that are fathers that are around are good fathers.
Okay. All men.
No matter if somebody says it or not.
Around are good fathers. Okay.
They're around their children.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. You might get some conversation about that, but that's okay. That's what barbershop conversation is all about. I got that down.
You know?
Yep. Got it. 877-955-1061. Come on into the barbershop. What would be the conversation? What would come up in the conversation around fathers and fatherhood? Dr. Daniels, where is you? Where are you?
Hey, Doc, I'm here. I'm here, man. Hey, look, Doc. Look, my son and them, they surprised me and brought me to the bowling alley for Father's Day. But I'm still here, man.
Oh, man. How you going to do this and be at the bowling alley?
I know, man. I'm here, though. I'm here in spirit. I'm with y'all, man.
Hey, we expected strikes, all right?
Exactly, man.
All right.
Hey, look. Hey, Doc, on the fatherhood thing.
In the barbershop, what would come up?
In the barbershop, listen, I couldn't be the father I am today without accountability. I'm going to stay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stay with that. And one of the things that, okay, so let me say this, like my son, okay, so it's been over 20 plus years since I've been incarcerated. The same year that I stopped going inside is the same year that my son never been back. Ooh. I was at one point in one part of the jail and he was in another part of the jail. They would get our names confused. I stopped going to talk to him.
Is that really? You was both in the same
at the same time, Doc. When his woman would put money on his books, sometimes they would accidentally put it on me because we was both Reggie Daniels.
That's deep. Ain't
that crazy? They had two generations locked up, man. And then I used to go see my father up there. So that's a whole nother generation.
So accountability, that would come up in the barbershop.
Listen, the hardest thing to tell my son in the recovery was to say to him, and this is not with venom, that I put the streets and drugs and women before you. And I had to tell him that with tears in my eyes, though, not in a bold way or anything like that, but being accountable and humble to him allowed our relationship to restore, healing to happen, and we both broke that cycle of incarceration. Now he's working in 5 Keys. He's been there now for a couple of years, but he's been employed, for the last 10 years, man.
Hang on, we got a call. We got a call. Oh, I thought we had a call. Okay.
Okay, that's some of the deepest stuff I heard in a minute. What you just said right there, bro.
Come on, Val.
Come on now.
That's it. It don't get no realer than that. That lets you know how important our role is as leaders and as fathers, and we have to walk in our accountability. So that's what I'm gonna say. Accountability.
That's what come up in the bro. Let me get you to all the barbershops around, okay? Because that would be nice to come up in the barbershop.
Yes.
Call? No call?
Yes.
Got a call. All right, you in the barbershop, Street Soldiers. What you got?
So this is Jeree. One thing that would come up in the barbershop that I felt a sister, her husband is the only one man that I know that has never cheated on his family. And just love. I felt so much love today just because he loved his family so much that he never stepped out. So the love, that needs to come up if it doesn't come up.
Well, if you was in there, it would come up. If you was in there, it would come up.
Most definitely, Dr. Marshall, it sure would, because after talking with him and giving him his crown, because he's the only man that I know in my life, I felt nothing but love. I had a friend text me and she said, "How's your day? How you feeling?" I said, "I just feel joy and love in the air." And it just went on to others that I spoke with. So my environment was enriched. So I believe that would be something beautiful to be able to talk about and share in a barbershop.
Thank you.
And I think they would talk about it more so now.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the call. 877-955-1061. Call and tell us what would the conversation be about in the barbershop when it comes to fatherhood and fathers. Let me get Stefan. He ain't had a chance to jump in. Stefan, what would come up in the barbershop?
For me, what will come up in the barbershop is around men, and then you have a child that just won't listen. So sometimes I've been in the barbershop and I heard men say, I don't know what to do. The boy just won't listen. So a lot of times you get a lot of good advice in the barbershop on what to do. So that comes up.
You get whooping techniques.
Let me tell you about the haircut. I've been bald headed a long time. My daddy believed in covitis. They called it, even though they didn't call it bald head back then, they called it covitis. So me and my brother, we didn't have a choice but to be bald headed when we was younger. So
oh man.
Me too, man. I didn't know nothing about it. There wasn't no dreads around there. But I get a natural was good, but I couldn't do that.
Oh,
I understand where you're coming from, Savannah. Boy just won't listen. Okay, that would come up.
True.
Yeah, well, this stuff would come up.
Hey, what about, man, that boy eats so much damn food.
Yeah.
Oh.
I heard that a lot coming up.
All right,
every father that said that.
All that would come up in the barbershop.
Or any of you dads like a great TV show, the Chris Rock. What was the Chris Rock show? And his dad was Terry Crews.
Yeah. And
he would always count out like, what you need $7 worth of chicken for.
Yeah.
Everybody hates Chris.
Everybody
hates
yeah. And and interesting, he was there, but it was a comedy, right?
Yeah, that was funny.
It was a comedy. Anything else somebody want to throw in that might come up in the barbershop? All this is good.
You know what?
Yeah, go ahead, Lid.
You know what comes up? Especially like if you got a dad because I was one of the ones that was the only one that had a dad in the neighborhood, right? So they'll always say, wait, you know who daddy don't play?
yeah.
Then they start saying,
yeah,
who got a whooping by his daddy? And all of that type of stuff. But they did that, and he was one of the type of guys that mentored and tutored everybody in the whole neighborhood. So anywhere I came, they start talking about, boy, your daddy don't play, and then he'll start kicking in. Remember when his daddy grabbed him off the court by his ears? Remember when his daddy, start talking about memories of whoopings you got from your daddy and how you was chastised by your daddy in a humane way. But that'll come up if you have one of them dads, and I have one of them dads that everybody in the neighborhood knew. So they'll be talking about their encounter on when they got whooped by him or who daddy whooped the hardest. That's what it was. They'll do that.
That would come up
today. Yeah, that'll come up.
All of that would come up. I'm gonna just. By the way, you want to jump in the conversation? I will let folks get in. 877-955-1061. Let me tell you some of the stuff that came up for the young people. All right. When we in our classroom barbershop, we didn't call it that, but that's what it was. First of all, they described in our conversation, it was painful. They said it was painful. And I asked them why it was painful. And here's what they said. Why is it difficult for you to talk about your dad? Don't have a good relationship with dad. The love isn't there. Okay. This is something he heard, right? And I don't know if this was his stepdad or what. He said, it must have been a stepdad. I think it says, I didn't bring him up. Basically, I'm with the mother, but I didn't bring you up, which is, that was different. But, that's what the young person said. Oh, no, I take that back. That's different. I interpreted that wrong. He was saying that I don't bring him up, period. I don't bring my father up, period. And he says, I don't talk about him unless someone else brings it up. I have my mom. And here we are probing into this. And he says, you lucky you getting what you getting. That's basically what he was saying to us, right? He says, because I don't talk about him. I have my mom. What makes it painful, what makes it hard to talk about that was we don't agree. Another one he left me at a young age, so I didn't build a strong relationship with him. He said it brings back trauma. He said he's present and absent at the same time. That's deep. Present after
Very
absent.
deep.
He's stubborn about learning how to deal with emotions. And tough love, he gives me tough love, but wants to talk about it. And I want to talk about stuff without arguing. And I was like, oh, okay, that's why I talked about. One of them said he's emotionally unavailable. So that's why they said it was painful to talk about their fathers. And then we had the conversations. How do you feel when he's not present? Let me get this one in if I can get this one right. Let's see. How do you feel when he's not present? Oh, I can't find. Here we go. I got it over here. Because you unheard, unresponsive, unloved, hurt, disappointed, sad, anger, and pain, lonely, and stuck. Now, I'm sure this isn't for everybody, but this is a young group of young people. And an interesting thing I said was, I know this is hard for you to talk about, but you think it's important. Every one of them said it's important. So I'm going to add their voices into the barbershop because this is what came up for them. Okay. So we got another call. Jump in. What would come up in the barbershop about fathers and fatherhood? You're on Street Soldiers. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think what would come up in the barbershop is how when a father actually is trying to be there and the mom is trying to use the child as a pawn because the father doesn't want to be with the mom. So the mom tells the child, oh, your daddy left us. No. Sweetie, we separated. I never separated from my child.
Right.
And then by the time the baby finds out the truth as she's older, it's a little too late because now she pretty much, or the baby pretty much hates you like the mama did because the mom done tainted her mom.
Yeah, maybe even I might even use the word, just maybe harsh poison, the child against the father, right? Yeah,
and that's a terrible thing because it's like you have those fathers out here that don't want to do nothing, but then you got those fathers out here that would give their life for their babies. And just because the mom is upset because y'all don't vibe no more, then she wants to take that out on you. And we already got a strike against us because we're men. So when we go to court, the baby's automatically gonna go with mom, no matter what the circumstances is.
In many cases,
and then when you paying child support, okay, you up on child support. Like me, for instance, my last payment for child support, because my daughter just graduated. She's 18. She was supposed to graduate before then, but because her mom is very vindictive, she held her back a year, so I had to keep paying child support. Which it's not it's not a problem to me. I'm going to continue to pay the child support. Never been in arrears. Never had my license taken.
Wow.
And this is my last payment, and I have not seen my child in over 6 years.
Bro,
because her mama won't let me.
I'm sorry, man. I am, man.
And today is Father's Day, and I'm like, I'm more than hurt. And this is some of the stuff that I keep to myself on some accounts because I can't really put it out there. And then when I'm hearing this kind of topic of conversation that you guys have on here, I'm able to dial in.
Yeah.
It's actually making me feel a little bit better.
Brother, I'm glad you called in. I feel your pain, brother. Let me tell you, we all do.
Sure do.
Yeah.
6 years is a long time, brother. That's a hole. That hurts.
You're not alone.
And I appreciate what y'all doing on this radio and with this calls and stuff because I'm able to put it out there.
Look here, man. God bless you, man. The ancestors bless you, man. You doing it. I mean, see, I got a saying I use. You gonna be a father no matter what. No matter what obstacle has been thrown in front of you. You know how important it is to be a father. And it doesn't matter what she does. It's up to you what you do. And I can't say enough about you, man. I really do. Just you and let me say this also, and I hope what I'm saying is somehow I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but somehow the child is gonna know. The child is it's gonna come a point where I know I didn't I mean I don't know when it's gonna happen, but eventually she or he is a boy or a girl.
It's a girl.
She gonna find out. She gonna find out.
Yeah.
She gonna find out. Now, baby, I was there the whole time. Look, I paid. Look, that's what I did. What I was allowed to do, and
right.
Woo, man.
Lady Estelle, you got some words?
Oh, man.
Did you call me
That's
out?
why I
Yes.
thank God that I'm able to stay in my right mind and still be out here and work and do what I have to do to survive and to take care of everything I need to take care of and try to suppress all that hurt and pain, because I know if I let that hurt and pain get out and I start acting on it, like for every action there's a reaction, and if I act on it, then my reaction or my action would lead me to a worse off place than I am. So I deal with it and I pray every day.
You got the wisdom, but
Okay, you just said a word that gave me an opportunity to jump in. You said, I pray every day. And so what comes to me, first of all, let me say that you do not deserve what you've been given. You don't deserve that. And I am really sorry that she's that way. She's going to pay for that. She's going to pay for that. And let me say to you, especially since you're a praying man, and you're letting it out now. If you're a praying man and you allow yourself to go ahead and let some tears fall, she's going to pay big time. Whatever is right, God will pay. You keep doing what's good and right. That little girl, that baby girl, when she finds her way back to you, I know that you are going to be ready to receive her without defending or justifying. Hurt kids, when they come back or when they have an opportunity to share, they can be harsh. They can be harsh. They can say some things that'll cut deep, make you cry, period. But my recommendation is for you to sit there and listen and be there for her while she lets it all out. And then you let her know, just like I'm here with you now, I was with you then. You didn't know it. You didn't see me. You couldn't hear me because I was not allowed. And I am grateful to be able to be here with you now. And I will be with you. You get to choose. You get to choose. Now you get to choose. And so my prayers are with you, young man. You just keep doing what's good and right. Because, see, you've had to give the money to the mother, haven't you?
Well, one thing is she's on the system, so she only gets $50. I don't know why she keeps dragging me through court trying to get more, and she'll never get more. So, but I've been.
Let me just say,
crazy.
What you've been given, going through the system, it goes to her, of course, because that's just kind of who she is. But you'll be given an opportunity. You just keep praying and wait. Just keep praying. She's coming.
Thank you, Lady E. Thank you so much for that. That made him feel good. All right, we're at the end of the first hour, right?
That's right. Yep. Go ahead and
keep
keep
it
up
going.
with the conversation at YouTube Live at Stay Alive and Free. And you can always visit us at stayaliveandfree.org.
Hang on. Hang on. Hour number two, Alive and Free Street Soldiers Radio, now on YouTube. Whew, man. What a first hour. What a first hour. The conversation about fathers and fatherhood. The barbershop. In case you're just joining, we asked folks if the topic of fathers and fatherhood came up in the barbershop, what would be said? What would be said? And we had some people waiting to get in the chair right here. We're in the shop. They waiting to get in the chair, and we had some people who called in to talk about what would come up. I'm just gonna go over some of the things that they said would come up: child support and money. All right. Who the kids are with, basically, who are you dating, and who are my kids around? There you go. Who are my kids around? Drama with my mother, just a little bit of everything. New generation of fathers would come up. I'm gonna explore that a little bit more. Fathers don't get no love. Mothers get all the love. Mother's Day is a big day. Father's Day just isn't. All right. A bad boyfriend, or I guess a bad I want to say a father who doesn't live in the home, right? Doesn't mean he can't be a good father. That was said also. Let's see. If somebody said all fathers, men who are around their children are great fathers, I would have a conversation about that myself. Accountability would come up. Some boys just won't listen and they eat everything. You know who the daddy is. What did I say? Who got? I don't know what I wrote there. A mother's using the child as a pawn, and I think we heard a little bit of that in that last caller. In that case, it sounded like mother using the child for money. So that's some of the stuff that came up in the barbershop. We got our panel still with us, and I want to let me just go to this first one, y'all. Because this one comes up by somebody who was really close to me, and he's serious about it. Let me just say, what do you think about this? Fathers don't get no love. It seems like mothers get all the love. I remember him even saying to me, man, I don't even know what Father's Day came and gone. I'm curious about what you think about that. I mean, that's the way he feels, So do you think that? I guess that depends on individual case, right? So you just talking about you got a lot of love. You got a lot of love. You got the breakfast in bed.
That's a tough question because you don't want to make it a versus the mom, because we need mom. We need mom. Right. Trust me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're not saying we don't need mom.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know. It's just a hard question because it's not a contest.
It's not right. It's not.
And the validation for me is my children, seeing them happy and growing and moving, so hearing things from people, that feels nice, but seeing the results, that feels a lot better. The Chris Rock joke, I always say, I know it's a little, whatever it is. He said, my daughter's 15 or whatever. My job is to keep her off the stripper pole. You know what I mean? It's like, yes. And then my son, you just want to, I just keep being good. Like, don't start stealing stuff, don't start, just keep being good. And when you see it happening, that's all I need.
Yeah. Anybody go ahead, Charles. Yeah.
My thing, Doc, I think sometimes is that when we celebrate the moms, we see things, they go extravagant, flowers, presents, and different things like that. Right. And fathers, sometimes we suffer in silence. We don't say, hey, we want that, but it is nice to get something besides a tie, the biggest piece of chicken, and some underwear. I'm just
saying. Put it out there. But that's all year round. We buying the gifts all year round anyway. You know that's right.
Anybody else
And-
want to comment on
Yeah,
that? Go ahead,
and
Khalid.
you know, it's like I wish I could just be. It's a reality world, man. You know, it's just like Mother's Day. That's already in January, already locked in on. You know, like Christmas. You already know when
Man.
Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Mother's Day already locked in, and when that day come, everybody know like 3-4 days before, a week, they getting ready for it. It's gonna be a big old shindig,
That's
and
true.
this is a reality, bro. This happened to me. I laughed about it. Father's Day came around and went, and then somebody told, hey, you know, last week was Father's Day. Last week was Father's Day, and like, you know, and it's like they really don't. You know, to give some good grace to the mothers. You know, they really not really trying, but man, you know, they just psychologically, they subconsciously, man, that skips over. They more important a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's just like, cause it didn't happen way too many times where I had to look on Google and be like, man, when is Father's Day? Because I you know,
Yeah.
that not forget when Mother's Day is, but Father, man, that's like, oh, okay. And then it ain't really no commercials.
That's
you
true.
know about Father's Day?
But
You know, the commercials this week, they might have some M&Ms, you know, a Hershey, whatever. Mother's Day, oh, they got the car, they got red ribbons on Escalades, you know. Hey, reality.
Serious
I mean,
flowers.
it's a
Big
difference.
time. Big time
It's a
flowers.
difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All
I have a
right.
comment. I got a comment.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking, listening to Khalid, and I'm thinking about it. Mother's Day a couple weeks ago, and I'm still riding around San Diego, cars lined up on the corner, people selling flowers. I mean, every single corner. I ain't seen nobody today selling no flowers on no corner. I mean, you know, this is like a regular day, you
Let's
know.
go.
But the cars were lined up. I mean, every corner had flowers. I started to go buy me some. I used to be one of those guys in L.A. I used to stand on the corner of Crenshaw and sell flowers. And I made money. But on Father's Day, I didn't sell none. But on Mother's Day, oh, yeah.
Ain't nobody going to the C's Candy.
No. And I like flowers. I mean, you know, I'm a real man. I mean,
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's. I think what you're saying is realistic reality, and we just comment on it, right? You know,
comment on it.
you know, and maybe don't know. Maybe people don't really know how we feel about that. And here you say it. Now, you know, somebody might say you tripping, but at least you know how I feel, right? I mean, you know how I feel.
Hey, Doug,
Yeah, go ahead, Red.
I think it's if you look at the data, I think it's the second most unappreciative holiday out of the 20-something.
Are you kidding me?
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the data. Right. But let me
let's stick with that. Unappreciated. Why do you think? I mean, why questions? I don't like that. You have an idea why? I can't tell the why. She tells me don't use why questions. But I got what did it say in there? The dynamics behind that?
I gotta look it up. I just was so shocked. I was blown away, but I said, whoa, that feels right though. It's not just a statistic, it feels right.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know how that translates across cultures either.
Yeah.
But let me say this real quick to the brother because I had a similar experience. If this brother, the brother who talked about paying his child support, brother, if you listening and if you are current on your child support, you have rights. And don't let nobody tell you that you do not. Okay? And she has to adhere to that as well. So as long as you're in good standing like that, there is some kind of resolution that you can seek legally. I just want to say that. I know we don't like courts and stuff like that, but hey, sometimes we got to do it, man. I just want to throw that out, Doc, to him, you know.
That's what we're here for. We throw it out. You know, again, he was great because he's carrying his weight around and he felt he didn't have anybody who would talk about it, let alone understand, right? And he was so grateful for us being here to have this conversation. And you know us, you know me. I don't do. Look, you don't drown in shallow water. It's the deep water issue that we don't want to go into and don't deal with, that we're drowning in. Go ahead. So you want to jump in?
Just to answer your question, it's about Father's Day and why it's not. It's part of a larger discussion about men and being devalued, which we're not having that conversation right now. But it's almost like, how good news is not news. But drama is new. It's like a good man is not news. A man doing something good is like, but a man mess it up. Oh, that's front page news.
and that narrative, I think, drives the headlines over the brothers that are doing.
Yes.
The men that are being good fathers, that are being great fathers.
Which in my life is, especially with brothers, is everyone I know. I'm gonna be honest, like even the ones struggling, look, if anybody knows what it feels like to be alone in this world, is us. Okay. So we're not gonna just leave a child that belongs to us and just, that's not, come on, we got God. We're not gonna do that. Most of us, we're not gonna do that. And I don't get it, this whole, we don't love our kids. I see the exact opposite. I see brothers go hard for their kids in any possible way they can, under any circumstance.
They always do. They always do.
Can each of you talk about your own fatherhood experiences for a minute before we move on? You just want to, obviously, Malcolm, I know yours, but Stefan, what was yours like?
Well, my father, rest in peace. He was the type of father that my mother had 5 kids, and when he hit that door and that key turned, we could be cutting up, but he hit that door, you could hear a pin drop. That was the type of man he was. And my extended family, even the extended family that was in the streets, that was gangsters or whatever, they would talk about my dad. They called him Uncle Tommy. When they seen Uncle Tommy in the streets, they would turn and run, because that's the type of man he was. And he was, for years I thought I didn't understand my dad, but I thank you, Dr. Marshall, because when I took the Life Free training, I got it. I knew what my dad wanted. I knew exactly where he was coming from, because he understood the Life Free principle. He didn't let me go to the local liquor store. We got caught going to the liquor store, we got a whooping. We got caught taking money from a stranger, we got in trouble. We couldn't go to our cousin's house, to a certain family house. I didn't understand why, but once I took the Life Free training, I understood what my daddy was trying to protect me from, and I'm thanking forward to this day.
All right, thanks. Khalid, you talk about what was your dad's experience like?
I'm gonna be honest. My bike, few things. My bike can get stolen in the summer at about 11 o'clock. My father gonna get home about 7:30, 8 o'clock. He gonna eat. I'm gonna get in trouble because I didn't lock the bike up. He gonna put his coat on about 9:30, 10. So the thief then already had like about a 10, 11 hour jump on Pops. He gonna go out. When I wake up in the morning, my bike is gonna be in the living room.
Oh Lord!
I swear, bro, every single time. And I'm talking about, I couldn't believe it. It's like, man, this dude, they didn't have a jump on him. Then my father would be like, he's the type of man, when you addressing him, you had to put a sir at the end of that. It ain't no way around none of that. I grew up on, man, back in them days, the extension cord was a belt, bro.
I know.
And the extension cord, and see, I used to think that I was abused until I start working with youth, until I start really understanding, man, that extension cord, my friend, I remember my buddy asked me, man, let's go rob this jewelry store. And the extension cord start talking to me. And then this cat went and robbed the store. The man locked him in and killed him inside the store. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't, and then he done saved me so many times just with the thought of my father. The thought of him would just make me, I'll do one of the moves like they did on Boys in the Hood. Let me out. Stop the car. Stop the car, because I done felt, if I got a feeling of my dad, and then, I stop. But the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is he taught me the difference between you being preyed on versus being preyed on. My dad kept me from being preyed on, PREYED. Kept me to be able, that's why I became diabolical and strong, a strong man and in my life, because I had that gene that I wasn't going to be preyed on. And in a time where everybody was getting preyed on, getting buckled to shit, information to go bust moves, everything I did on my own. I didn't get, because I had a dad. So, and I got whoopings. But I went to school and act like I didn't. But I paid for everything I did. And I'm thankful for it because I was able to listen to you, Doc. I was able to be respectful. And people be thinking, it ain't me. It's them whoopings, man. I'm telling you.
Thanks, Khalid. Thank you. Let me go to Charles. What was your fatherhood experience like?
My fatherhood experience was I didn't find out who my real father was till I was about 15, which I was already running through the streets of East Oakland doing dumb stuff, which landed me in the California Youth Authority. And when I met you and Martin Jacks and Coach, changed my whole experience, like, because it was, I got to see men doing things and helping other young men like myself get to different plateaus in life. So, when you're a knucklehead, it's always somebody, hey man, you need to chill. They're going to get you. Once I got sat down, I got to see men like yourself, Martin Jacks, rest in peace, Coach, rest in peace, come in like, hey, here's a different way that you guys can do it. Andre, Paul, Zach D, Corey, everybody that used to come in like, hey, fellas, this is the way that you can do it. This is the steps that you need to take to get you to freedom. And it literally got me to freedom. So now that I'm a father, I try to do and implement the same things, the same methods that were taught to me years and years ago. So
thanks, man. Douglas, what was your fatherhood experience
My
like?
fatherhood experience, I didn't grow up with my natural father. My mother remarried when I was 4. So I was raised with a husband. But what he provided was an economic stability. And what I found from the emotional side of it, I found from the neighbors and my uncles. And whatever he lacked as far as an emotional side of it, I picked and choose from the neighborhood. I told him we moved over this, and I said, I thank God for the Wolf folks. It was a mother and father, and they had 3 sons, and I became their 4th son. And I was always with them. And whenever everything from, like you said, hanging out in the street and knowing how to hang out in the street in a positive sense, going to the boys club, etc. I became, like I said, the 4th son. I fit right on in there. And that's why I become a little bit more resourceful in understanding and working with. I became a coach. Today I'm a USTAF official. I have found what I was missing from that emotional aspect of not having that within the house and just the economic side. That's why I became a big brother, a mentor, the coach, and all of those things associated with what I know people need as opposed to what they want. And it's becoming firsthand, just from that firsthand experience. I mean, it wasn't harsh or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, economic status. I've been flying. I'm 65. I've been flying on airplanes since the 2nd grade, having vacations. But that's the economic side.
I understand.
And from that perspective, and there's more to it. That whole E side, that emotional side of how do you actually be that, and that might have something to do with why I don't have any children now, and on the other side of it, and from that perspective too. I never dug that deep with it, but okay. But I've been raising everybody else's children. directly and indirectly, you know.
Thank you.
And I'm okay with that.
Dr.
Yeah.
Daniels, you there? And were you at the bowling alley? You there?
No, I'm here, Doc. I'm here.
What was your fathering experience like?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to crush this down. So basically, I had three kind of fathering experiences. So my birth dad, his brother was the first one to stick a heroin needle in his arm. So all I seen from birth was my father and his addiction. He tried to be loving and be there as much as he could. Then I met his dad, my grandfather, my father's side, and he was just very removed. You know, his thing was he had two women. He had a woman for in the morning and he had a woman at night, and he just kept his stuff going. And then on my mom's side, I had my grandfather, and he was a very religious man, but he lived, I'll just put it like this, he lived a lot of contradictions.
Yeah.
So that kind of turned me off to religion. So what I had to do, Doc, was to look at the patterns that I picked up, stop hating and being angry, and start doing the work on myself, right? And be a better father. So now I'm present for my children. I am not in any addiction cycle, and I also work with you. So that's my fathering experience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you mine real quick. My father, man. In fact, my father used to call the show, y'all, when he was still here.
Your father was dope, man. I love your father, man.
I would call my dad when we was on the air, right? And I thank him. He said, "What you thanking me for?" I said, "Dad, I want to thank you for not taking penitentiary chances with your kids." He raised 9 kids, him and my mama, and like he was like, my father used to tell me, "Well, man, I love y'all so much, I wasn't going nowhere." You know, my father was like, "Nah, I love my kids." Like he loved us a little bit too much.
I was about to say he loved all y'all so much.
He loved us so much. His love was a little overboard. Like he was still trying to teach us like a kid when we was grown. You know, he was like that. In fact, if it was up to him, we'd all lived in a cul-de-sac, right? All the kids, and he'd be right there. But growing up, man, I wrote this in the book. I don't think, especially growing up in LA, in Gangtown, anything could happen to me. But my favorite line was, "I was always more afraid of my father than the homeboys." I was like, no, I ain't going to look. I ain't gonna deal with him. Y'all forget y'all, you know. And it is a great thing to be able to say, yeah. And I think our own stories tell us why this whole father thing is all over the map, you know, with the kids, because it depends on what your experience was like. Is that he was that I brought you into this world, I'll take you out. He was that kind of man. And he would no. And look, I thought he was gonna kill me, right? Because sometimes he did, right? But it's a wonderful thing when you can tell and tell everybody else, say, "I'm gonna tell my daddy." You know, that is like, I was so blessed to be able to say, "I'm gonna tell my daddy," right? You know, because you know, that was Superman. He was Batman. I didn't need no Marvel comic guy, right? I mean, I had it right there. And he could have sold dope, he could have done anything, but he didn't. And so you know, he was a spare to ride, you know, he bam, you know, but I know that because at a certain age, boys get smart with their mama. You know, I don't know about y'all. I got a little smart with my mama. And my father, I tell the story to my father, she told him, God, you know, it's like when your mother tells you, you wait till your father come home. You wait till
you don't want to hear that.
You don't want to hear that.
Nope.
So he got home, and I knew what was coming, but he told me, look, and I remember this, he says, look, she ain't going nowhere. I had her before I had you. So you better get this straight. And then he said the word, I love the way Black people pronounce this word. If you ever, not EVER, EVA, if you ever get smart with your mama again. And so, you know, he stopped a lot of stuff, man. He stopped a lot of stuff just by being now. And I was like, okay. And let me say this. He got me to move out the house. See, because at some point I said, look, man, this dude, 2 kings came. I be like, I got to go. So at 17, I left. I didn't come back. He was just, man, my dad, he was like, yeah, that's me. That's me. And yes, sir, you next.
I'm gonna follow you and Khalid on the afraid of my father theme. And I'm gonna keep it real short. We lived in Pittsburgh, California. I went away to college in Washington, D.C. If you know just a little bit about geography, that is on the other side of the country. My father did not know what I was doing. There was no cell phones at this time. There was no GPS. There is no way he could have known what I was doing. I was still afraid of this man that he would somehow come around a corner in Washington, D.C. and say, what the hell did you just do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe that in all my heart until about 23, 24. I'm like, he's not coming. He's not here. and you know, I'm imparting that to my son. Thank you very much. I see you got it from your dad, so it will be passed on. Thank you.
No,
you know, that saves lives.
I gotta tell you this. Hold on, Glenn. When Malcolm was younger, he said, "Dad, I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend." You got friends. I'm your dad, right? I'm your dad. Yeah, I ain't your friend, right? I'm your dad. He said, Malcolm was so, because we're close. We're close. But you know, but I'm his dad, right? Yeah. He do the same thing with his kids. And it's so beautiful.
I had to get on Neo. I had to let my son know one time. Man, I let him know too good. His tears started coming down his face. I was like, "Oh, it's okay, homeboy." but it was good to know that you know what I mean, like, because I didn't do something big. I just looked at him, and you know that look is. Yeah. So I got that from you. It sounds like you got it from Joe Senior.
I got. Oh man, that's granddad. So let me say this. I really believe this, and I think it's in any of our conversations about our father. Looking at you, Dr. Daniels, and listening to you, Charles, and you may not be able to do anything about the family you come from, but you can do everything about the family you create.
Great start. Yeah.
But I think listening to you, Dr. Daniels, and listening to you, Charles, you can't do that unless you take a hard look at your family situation. And there are so many young men, I'm gonna use this, who have children and say, my father wasn't there for me, and I will be there for mine. And then they go ahead and do the same thing that happened to them. And because they shut it off, they don't want to talk about it, you know, it's too painful. But if you don't do that, and look at hard or get somebody to help you with that, you're gonna end up, you know, your son or your daughter gonna be cussing you out like you was cussing out yours, right? And that's why these conversations are so important. And C-Rob, I want to say this, man. For you to be the dad that you are, in spite of not having one, there must have been something in you that said, "Oh no, I know what I missed. I know, and I'm going to do that." And I have so much admiration. My son-in-law, Reggie, we was talking today when I was over there. He didn't have a dad, and he kept saying, "I don't need one. I got my mama, so on and so forth." And then, you know, he was like, "I'm about to have a kid," but you know, and like, you know, but he's a great dad because he looked at it. He didn't run away from it, and I think that is so hard for men to do, is to take that look at, and so Dr. Daniels, your accountability thing, you looking at what and being honest about yourself, that I think is a hard thing for men to do.
Yes, Doc.
But when you do it, you end up being a great dad. And that's all we're looking for. Whether we appreciate it or not. And I actually think that people don't understand the importance of fatherhood. That's my basic thing, y'all. I think people get motherhood. You know, we threw that out to the kids and say, they talk about mom do this, mom do that, mom cook, mom blah, blah. I think that people in general just don't understand what dads bring to the table. And I think if guys, men, I'm talking about, or even women, had a notion of what men actually bring to the table, they wouldn't let things like, well, he got another woman get in the way, right? they wouldn't let the child support payment get away. I just even with the Father's Day being an unappreciated day, I just don't think they get how important and necessary and the great things that Father. And if you have a dad like me, I already knew that. Oh man, I knew what this. I knew. Look, man, I know what brings to the table, man. This dude, man, look, protector, provide. I mean, yeah. You know, I knew that. Oh man, you know, I ain't got to worry about nothing. So I think that's where we need to move. I think that if the guys that sold drugs during the 90s, right, knew what their kids were missing, they might have like, because they sold drugs to buy the kids things, and it was really about them anyway. And the kids didn't want the things. The kids wanted their dad. But I'm not sure if they understood, or if they said, well, mom can raise them. No, mom can't do what you can do, brother. Mom can't do that. You know, I see Charles with his son and daughter. Man, he's unbelievable. What he brings to the table and imbues in them, right? It's just incredible. So I actually, you guys noticed, I actually made a list of things, you know, given to me by the callers to the station, and also by the young people alive and free, of the things that fathers bring to the table. And I don't think people are really aware of. And I've been using this list to tell the guys, look, if you can't do the things on this list, you really ain't ready to be a dad.
Yeah.
So maybe you should postpone it, right? And for the women, this is why I tell them, the girls, I said, if he can't do the things on this list, I mean, I say something ridiculous, ladies tell you can't do this. I say, now that you got a list, you need to interview him for the job. Because you about to invest your child in somebody that you don't know if he can really be because you really don't have an idea of what a good father brings to the table. So you just like, oh, he got a nice car, you know, and you know, he hella cute, and we might have cute babies. I have a girl tell me that one time, we're gonna have cute babies. What's that got to do? Then you're gonna be cussing them out on the radio, call them all kind of names. Because I sincerely believe that men want to be fathers. I sincerely, in my heart, believe that men want to be fathers. That they just don't know how, or they don't know the value that fatherhood has. So I'm gonna go through that list now, right now. I want to go through it. That's how I've been trying to reach. But first, I think you got to do the work, like you did, Dr. Daniels, like you did, Charles, and go in and say, you can't play like we don't mean nothing to me. I mean, so what? No. There's a hole in your heart running around, you know, because the mama wasn't there, you're going to have a hole in the heart. I also think, let me throw this out and we keep going. I really think it's very difficult. And I pride, like this gentleman who called, I pride men on parenting outside the home is the hardest thing in the world. Being a father outside the home is the hardest thing in the world. Because I had to do it, and my son had to do it. And you got to really want to be the dad. Khalid, you don't have access no more. You know, the things that you got before, you just don't have that. And I think if men understood the value that they bring, they ain't gonna let that get in the way either. So that's a lot in there. But what do you guys think about that? What I just threw out there when it comes to all of this.
Man, you're hitting it right on the nose because, where do I start? It's just like when you outside, I got 3 daughters, 34, 32, and 19. Every last one of them is a different situation. The first one, we got to the problem where me and the mother didn't, get an understanding. I wasn't with her, so that's gonna be tough. Second one, and then trying to father her, not knowing that is you really my kid, because the infidelity with the woman. So then you be immature as a young man. So now you done made a bad decision and said treating the kid like a Cabbage Patch doll and like, nah, you better go find the daddy. So now that's gonna be turmoil. So she gonna tell the kid all type of stuff. Then when you find out it's yours, now that's messed up. Then you have another baby and you outside of the home. So when I made Walida, the last one, Doc, you remember I brought her straight to the club at 2 months old, because and I said, man, I can't keep ruining lives. I can't keep doing this. It's selfish. You know what I mean? I felt it. I don't know where it came from. I wasn't doing nothing. God just spoke to me. I brought my daughter, man, no lie, to Omega's Boys Club at 2 months old, because her mother had to go back to work at Kaiser, after the baby was 2 months. And I said, man, I ain't letting this little baby go to no daycare. So I took the baby, had her in strollers. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I did it. I told everybody, hey, this going to be an Omega graduate. Man, Doc, what's she doing, Doc?
She's a sophomore at Sacramento State right now.
Man, and I just changed it around because I did it, and I stayed in the house with her. And it was a whole new thing. So I just became like my daddy was to me. I tweaked it though, because that'll spook these little kids today. You'll spook them today, but I stayed with them same basics, man, and stayed there and stayed in that home with that girl, man. There's a whole difference when you got a woman that's allowing you to be a dad, that know that it's important. Because she had other kids that wasn't, the fathers wasn't there. So when you got a woman you got to get a woman that's value the importance of having a dad. And man, it's a whole lot of difference. And it's sad with my other kids, they adults, but it's different when you raise them, man, every day. It's a difference. It's a difference. It can be done with you out of the house. It's a total difference.
Yeah, and you can see mom's gonna raise the kid no matter what. I don't care. She's gonna be mom.
Right.
And I just think the challenge for a different challenge for men who don't live there to I'm gonna be dad no matter what, right? And I think that throws, but I think that's because they don't understand their value. So, like this guy, he took it. This guy that called, he took it. He took it. He took it. Because I understand how important it is to be a dad, and I want to be a dad. But it's a tough thing to do. It was a tough thing for me, so I have to just do it differently. But I think the lady, we had the first caller that said, I didn't leave. I left the mother, I left the home, but I didn't leave you. I didn't leave. You want to say something, Douglas?
Yeah, I was just go ahead. I was saying that from the absentee, I work with a group of incarcerated fathers, man. I went to them with a 12-week session. And some of these guys have been down 10, 15 years, and they haven't even, they just began to see their children on breaks. And that's one of the things that you're talking about, that just kind of reconnect. And one of the things that we talk about is 5 things: self-awareness. We talk about caring for self, fathering skills, parenting skills, and relationship skills. No matter what the topic it is, one of those 5 things has to come into it. And the first thing I always tell them, at the end of every lesson, I say, how did any of that fit into these 5 areas? And you're trying to get back in there, especially with parenting skills and fathering skills, because you may not be in the house. Most of them are not going to be in that house with them. And so you have to learn how to be a co-parent, and you haven't been there, let alone be a parent. But in most cases with them, they have to learn how to be a co-parent. And like you said, opening up and talking about that.
There's a documentary on called Daughters.
Hmm?
And it's on Netflix. And then this other one that Malcolm wrote about, which is this. And what this woman does, start this program. Angela Patton, yeah. She it's brilliantly conceived. She goes to the prison, somehow talks the prison into letting the daughters visit the inmates for a day. Okay. And it's all day, and it's a daddy-daughter dance, right? Okay. And it's so good because they get the little girl saying, I can't wait to see my daddy. I can't wait to see my daddy. I can't wait to see my daddy. I ain't seen my daddy in. I ain't seen my daddy in. And then you get the older girls is like, I'm mad at him. He got out and he said he was going back. He said he wasn't going back. And I don't want to talk to him. And I ain't never getting married. Well, and if I get married, I definitely ain't having no kids. Cause and she said, well, and on the other end, like you said, the fathers have to take this course. It's a 9-week course about, being a parent, because they ain't never been there. But the feelings are all there. The feelings are there. And I say that if they knew the importance in the beginning, you got to notice that how important it is for you, what you bring to the table. Maybe they may have made a different decision. And that film is so hard to watch. Oh, you cry. I cried, man. I'm crying. The daughters can't wait to get there. They get there and they give the fathers tuxes and haircuts and Charles, let me tell you a poignant part in there. The men don't know how to tie a tie. So the other men are teaching them how to tie a tie, right? And I remember my father taught me how to tie a tie, which is almost a ritual you pass down to your son. And then my son taught his son how to tie a tie. But these men never learned how to tie a tie, which speaks to what was going on in their fathering. And they come in and she runs to their daddy and their daddy hugs them. And then it's beautiful. It's beautiful. They dance. And, this man don't even know what TikTok is. This daughter's trying to show him a TikTok dance and they doing all of that. But then they have to leave, man. But then they have to leave. And, this one girl said, I'll wait for you, Dad. I'll wait for you. And then he ends up getting 12 more years. It's painful. And I want to spare brothers that pain. I want to spare daughters that pain. I want to spare sons that pain. So, because I really do think men want to be fathers as much as men want to be mothers. They just don't know how important it is. That's my whole thought. Okay. I'm gonna share this list with you, okay? And you guys tell me what you think. All right. Dr. Daniels, are there?
Doc, yeah. Hey, Doc, can I give you something?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, remember we talked about the holidays, right? So
Yeah.
this is the data. So this survey here looked at holidays. The 3 most celebrated are Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Mother's Day. The 12 celebrated, yes. The 12 celebrated holiday out of 15 is Father Day. It is topped by Labor Day, Valentine's Day, Halloween Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day. All those things top Father's Day.
Wow.
We going
So
up
I'm gonna sing this list.
So that's more. All that's to say, you yourself got to really value Father's Day, right?
Yes.
You see my shirt, got my dad hood thing on. Oh, he's a dad, So, and I think again, Reggie, I really think men want this. So, here's what they said makes a good dad. That's a good dad, not a dad, right? Just a good dad, whether he's there or not. He said a dad is a teacher, right? That's on the list. A dad provides leadership by example. Okay. A good dad is a protector and a provider. So let's just let's just stop with those 4. That's the top 4 on the list. So if men understood when you're not with your child, when you're not being a father, that he's missing a teacher or she's missing a teacher, a leader, a protector, and a provider. Off top, right? Maybe you don't know you bring that to the table, right? Maybe you don't know that bring to us what the child's missing. Because you know what, when mom ain't there, well, I can't do it. My mama do this, my mama do that, so on and so forth. I don't think you really have an idea what you as a man bring to fatherhood, right? Ability to balance sternness and sensitivity. That's interesting. That's what a good father does. He has the ability to balance sternness, instills organization and structure. Now, every time I think about Malcolm X, and when he died, his family went to whatever. Now, I got these from the listeners, and I got these from the kids. Kindness. Now, men don't think of themselves as being kind, but parents will tell you that, well, you kind in your own way. You kind in your own way. A good father is loving and supportive, listens and inspires, calm, patient, and understanding, believes in you, urges you the best that you can be. A good father is present. His consistency and presence. He's the foundation for everything else. He provides discipline. He teaches you that your word is everything, provides balance, and shows quiet strength, resiliency, responsible, be able to express emotions. Might be the toughest one for us as men, right? And be vulnerable. Reg, you talk about vulnerability all the time. Spends quality time and is attentive and takes care of the kids. Now, let's think about that. If you're not with your child, look at all that child is missing. All of that. If you're not there, whether you with her or not, didn't say with her, you know, because it doesn't say on the list, he has to love my mother. No, because your mother's may not love you. So it ain't about loving the other person. It's about being a father or being a mother. And think about this. When you got a whole block missing this, teacher, leader, protector, provider, all that. When you got a whole neighborhood, a whole community missing that. And I remember I used to see kids, man, you know, then the kids the young men gonna make the decisions that the men would be like, no, you can't do that. So they posse up at the corner, right, at the park and decide to do something because they're like, ain't nobody to say no. And if you ever go to like a game and all the fathers are there, ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. And so I want to just think about this list. So I gave this list to my son-in-law. And I said, hey man, how many of these are you? And he checked the list and said, Mr. Marshall. He still call me Mr. Marshall. I got to get him to call me another name, but I can't. I've been married for 3 years. Right? Mr. Marshall. Yeah, I checked this list out. I'm pretty good at this. And I gave it to my daughter, and she said, yeah, Reggie's pretty good at this thing. And so if you realize that you're not around your child, he gonna miss all of that. He gonna miss all of that. That has nothing to do with her. He's gonna miss that from you. And you know, Reg and Charles and Stefan, I firmly believe that the club has always worked the way it has because we had the balance.
Yes.
We had the balance. We had both. We had my voice. We had, at that time, Ms. Norris's voice. We had Mrs. Stell's voice. We had a balance. We had a balance, you know, and we weren't in competition, right? And so I just think men really, and this, I want to know what you think about this, see, because when I read this list to the kids, I looked at one of the kids, I said, man, you ready to do this? Nah, man, I ain't ready to do all that. Well, then, you know, if you ain't ready to do that, you don't need to be no father. And I looked at the girls and I said, you know, you think your boyfriend gonna be ready to do all this? Well, I don't know. Well, you better find out. So that's my thought, is trying to show the value of fatherhood. What do you think about that idea? That's just me.
Doc, I think everything that you said ties into intentionality. Mm-hmm. You have to be intentional. Everything that you said there has to be intentional. You have to want to be in the child's life. You have to want to make change. You have to want to do right. You have to want to provide. You have to want to do everything. That's all intentionality. You cannot be halfway on the fence trying to do something and thinking that it's going to work. Like Khalid said, and like you said about your father, people were scared, like they knew that your dad didn't play. Your dad didn't play. It was intentionality. Like your dad didn't play. Like it wasn't no, man, I'm out here doing this like this or whatever. Nah, they knew that your dad gave them a look or a feeling like, yo, he don't play. And that's, as men, we have to be intentional always. Like we have to be, we can, like you said, we can do this. We can be soft at times when we need to be, but we have to be intentional in everything that we do.
Thank you, Charles. What do you think about that list, or the whole idea of the value of fathers?
That list, that right there will save lives, because a lot of people be busting moves off of anger, pain. They don't have no dad. because I seen it. You know what I mean? And my parents ended up getting divorced when I was in the 9th grade, and then I started seeing. At first, I was happy with it because I was like, "Yeah, I get to do what I want to do. I get to get loose." But then I seen the other side of the fence. I said, "Damn, man, it ain't." I mean, my daddy told me, "Now you know you're gonna be the man of the house." Now I'm like, "No, I'm a kid." now, you know, because now I seen what he got to do. Any noise, he was up on it. Now I got to be up on it, and I was kind of nervous. We lived in the pure hood. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh man, a man is really, you know, a lot of my partners didn't know how valuable a man was, but I knew because now I got to get up and go out there. I'm like waking my brother, come on, man, me and you got to go outside and listen to that noise. But all of that saves lives. And then you were saying like a whole community is not like that. That's what my neighborhood. Nobody had daddies. Man, do you know how reckless that is? That is so reckless in real life. Real life, because people making decisions where they losing their life in one day. That's so reckless. And that list right there, if you could learn, like the brother said, man, my brother Charles, man, and you be intentional with that, because that's how I was. I had turned down everything I was taught. I did the wrong thing with my two children. I had to learn to be intentional, and that's what it is. I'm going to remember that. I was intentional about I'm not going to ruin no more kids' lives. And then working with kids. I'm going in there working with youngsters and telling you got to do this, do that, and then I done ruined a couple of lives. I'm like, nah, man. So that list right there, and it'll make you feel good as a dad. And it'll make you feel good. I don't care what nobody say. I feel great. I'm a dad.
You have been very intentional about Walida. Absolutely.
Man.
The fact that you homeschooled her yourself, that's a hell
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. I went
as intentional as you can get.
And they telling me don't do it. But we working in the schools with the kids. That's what made me do it. I'm like, oh no, she ain't coming in. No. They ain't gonna have me swinging no kids against the walls. No, she can't go. I'm gonna do it myself. So you're right, Charles. That was right, brother. You got to be intentional.
Let me get some other feedback. Dr. Daniels, Stefan,
Doc, that's
about that.
Doc, with that list that you have right there is a representation of the ancestors. That's not anything new. That is rediscovering. When you used to want to date a girl, you had to come to the family. Yeah. And you had to let your intentions be known, like the brother said. And there was a man that you would speak to, and he would say, "What are your plans with my daughter? What do you have in store, brother? Are you working? What's on your mind?" Because we're not having we're not just having no baby making thing. And so, everything that you wrote has all our heritage, our cultural heritage is included in that list, brother.
Thank you. I'm thinking of intentional. Because when you got the fathering thing in you, it's just you see mothers who are neighborhood mothers. Well, I was a community father because Reg, when they came to the club with them, trying to mess with y'all and Charles, they had to go for me. They had to go for me.
Right.
Hey, you want to kill me, but you ain't coming here messing with my children. And even though I was dealing with every kind of gangster walking, they understood the father thing.
Yes.
Because they didn't want nobody walking up in their house, right? And so, I'm like, no, man, no, you can't, no, no, these are my kids. And so that I was very intentional about everything when it came to y'all. Stefan, your comments, Douglas, your comments about that idea of the value. I'm really working on the value of fatherhood. I don't care what the list say. I know it's valuable.
For me right now, I'm at Dr. Daniels, the lid. I can't say that. I can't follow that. That's it, right? They nailed it. There's nothing else I can say. They said it. I couldn't have said it like they said it. I knew what I was going to say, but they said it for me. I'm good.
Bless us, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get the notion of the value of fatherhood out to both the men and the women. The value, that's to me, is value. I truly believe that men ain't dogs, and men ain't this, and men ain't that. I don't believe it. I've seen too many that aren't. I've seen Charles, I've seen Dr. Daniels, I've seen all of you, I've seen what Khalid has done with his daughter, and I've seen them around other young people, treating them exactly the same way, you know, and continuing to work on themselves to be better people. I just think men need to learn that. A lot of times they don't learn that until they're locked up for the rest of their life. But you got to learn it. You got to learn it. It makes you a better person. So I just thank you for entering the barbershop tonight. I don't think the barbershop would have ended up like this because, you know, they tend to laugh everything off. But, and then,
Right.
you walk out and you empty the tank a little bit, but you have not filled up. And we get Malcolm back in. You have not been able to fill the tank. You have not been able to. All the issues that you walked in with, you probably walk out with, because you're gonna really get answers in the barbershop.
Yeah.
I really, I'm hoping that people that watch got something out of this, and for me, is really getting in touch with their own fathering and the value. I call it value, the value, because I think being a father, it's the greatest word in any language for a man. I just think it's just incredible. I know I loved it, still love it. You know, still parenting, still dadding. You know, and my dad did the same thing. And being a father to everybody is just. I always say I'm just a father and a teacher. That's all it is. That's all I know how to do. And everything and everybody I touch is gonna get some of that. You're back, soul.
Yeah, you know, when the other side of what you said is, you know, when fathers aren't there, problems arise. and you know, on the inside and on the outside, you know, they just do. And that shows our need right there in itself, you know, because bad things will happen.
I'll
Amen, brother.
I'll give you one more example. This young lady used to catch Bart back to Richmond when she left the club, and she would have to walk. And she said, Dr. Marshall, men are messing with me all the time. I said, well, call your dad. I ain't got no. Well, call your uncle. I ain't got no. Turns out she had no men to protect her in the family. And I said, well, I don't care if it's 2:00 in the morning, call me. And I put my number on the board. I saw right my number on the board. You know, every girl in the room wrote my number down. Bad things happen.
Yes.
And I am convinced that domestic violence, look, if you touch one of my girls, I'm telling you, bad things happen.
In the short term and in the long term. You know what I mean? Like,
no, y'all ain't messing with my daughter. I love my son-in-law. I said, look, man, I gave her to you. Okay. If you don't want them, I'm gonna give her back to me. You ain't gotta hit nobody, right? So yeah, I love you said that. So bad things happen. Not only in the house, in the community.
In the community.
That's what I mean. And things that there's the immediate things, but there's the stuff that lasts. And there's the holes that people walk around with that, you know, you can carry that for 30, 40 years, you know, so bad things happen. Yes.
Malcolm, you said inside and outside.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that something? That's real.
Yep.
And people know when you're serious with intention. Don't mess with my kids. Don't mess with this. And I'm willing to, yeah, for you. Yes, I'm willing to die for my children. Okay. You get that straight? I ain't letting you come in here and mess with my kids. But then I gotta be right. Good advice, bad example, cause confusion. I got to. Lady E, you have been sitting there smiling and writing and smiling, writing, and you get the word in the barbershop, and I know you got so much. You helped that brother so much. I can't say enough.
Thank you,
hearing
lady.
from you, hearing from us is one thing. Hearing from you is another thing.
I haven't been writing. I've been enjoying and listening because I'm kind of, yeah. So much has come to me, and which is hard, the fact that I didn't write it down. What time is it? So we're over time. But let me just say to each of you that are here tonight, what a blessing you are, your presence. And it doesn't matter whether you planted the seed or you're helping to have an impact on the men, the young men, and the young women. Having a man, I'm not going to talk about fathers, let me just say, just a man that you can trust that's going to show up is priceless. The value of your presence is priceless. God made man first. You're the first. And we look to you. And those little girls and those little boys that look to their daddy, it's priceless. One of the things that I want the listeners and you to think about is not to allow that term, I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. My grandson even said, well, you know, when that testosterone hits, you only 15, brother. What you talking about, testosterone? You know, don't get me started. You know, we act manly. What does that mean? I thought he said badly. Being a man, don't let being a man and what society has made man, what that means, keep you from being a father. I heard Barack Obama say, why are we talking about being a man? Why not just be a good human being?
Yeah.
Because when you are a good human being who's responsible for the lives of your child, there's some things that being a man is not even going to show up. That being a man, because you're going to be quiet. You're going to be gentle. You're going to be soft, tender, caring, thoughtful. All those things that those babies need. And especially girls, because I promise they're going to find somebody just like you. Make sure you are what you want your daughter to pick. And those boys, when they learn what it feels like to be loved by a man, their dad, that teaches them how to love. Tupac says you are appreciated. He was talking to the mothers. Fathers, you are appreciated. Men, you are appreciated. You are necessary, needed, important, required. When my son-in-law, there was a problem at the church, I said, my son-in-law can fix it. Get the man. He can fix it. And guess what? He came up, he fixed it. That's who you are. That's what you bring. And he probably didn't fix it just because he could. He fixed it because I was believing. You know, I said, Antoine, would you be that one? Remember, you help people see. You help your child see. You help them hear. You help them feel. You help them choose. You help them be encouraged and inspired. You help them wear the banner, the shield of what it means to be a man, to choose a man, to be around men. And you are blessed. You are appreciated. I really love you and look up to you. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. That's all I got to say. whether you know what I mean? And don't say because I didn't give birth. Somebody walked your way. That young woman that walked by and you said, good afternoon, young lady. What? Do you know what that did? Treat her like a lady. Oh my goodness. Be that, show that, do that. Not just for you, for everybody that can hear my voice. We need you.
And we're going, and thank you, lady.
And we celebrate you. I'm sorry if you didn't get a good Father's Day, you wasn't in my house. Because all women aren't like that. You know, we get bashed, but I tell you what, don't be a man around me. I'm going to let you know. Happy Father's Day, guys.
Thank you.
I'll say y'all, all of you. Love you. You know I love you, man. Y'all, I can't
Thanks,
say
Lady
enough.
E.
I'm so
Thank you,
proud
Lady E.
of all of you.
Thank you.
You know, like I said, I think I said, we got a relationship for life. It's a life thing. And I always got to thank Charles for being, because it's after midnight back there and his eyes.
You know what? And he always shows up. And he
Always showing
always
up.
shows up.
And his dad, oh man, just thank you. All right. Khalid, Douglas, thank you. Stefan, Dr. Daniels, Malcolm Marshall.
Right on, Doc.
Thank you so much, man. And let's keep it rolling. All right. As what's it?
You're welcome.
Father to your child, all the children. All right, y'all get to go home. Go to sleep now. Get up. And get the great men that
Hey,
you
you
are.
guys stay safe out there.
All right.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy
Father's
Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.